Can you imagine living in a world where people didn't use soap for laundry, but rather aged urine? Where people drank the warm blood of a fallen gladiator to cure a fever? And where a mad king decided to appoint his horse as a government minister? Welcome to the 1st century. This is the era of history that laid the foundation of our modern world. It was the time when Jesus Christ walked the earth, when Rome was pushing the limits of power and insanity, and when India, through its spice trade, was pulling in almost all the world's gold. In today's video, we will travel through the years 1 AD to 100 AD and uncover 100 such secrets and facts that have been wiped from the history books. Fasten your seatbelts, because we are going 2,000 years back in time. Let's begin with fact number 1. 1. Invention of paper. Before the 1st century, people wrote on bamboo strips, silk, which was very expensive, or bones. China's Kai Lun created a pope by soaking and mashing mulberry bark, hemp fibers, old rags, and fishing nets in water. Once dried, this became the world's first paper. It was the biggest game changer in history. Kai Lun made this invention to please the emperor, but China kept this technology a secret from the rest of the world for 600 years, so no other country could produce paper. 2. The Great Fire of Rome in 64 AD. On July 18, 64 AD, a horrific fire broke out in Rome that burned for 6 days. 10 of Rome's 14 districts were completely destroyed. Many historians believe that Emperor Nero started the fire himself so he could clear out old houses to build his new palace, the Domus Aurea. You might have heard that Nero was playing the fiddle while Rome burned. This is a myth. The fiddle, or violin, hadn't even been invented yet. Nero was likely playing the lyre, a harp-like instrument, or the entire story is simply made up. 3. Destruction of Pompeii, 79 AD. On August 24, 79 AD, the volcano Mount Vesuvius erupted. It released 100,000 times more thermal energy than the Hiroshima atomic bomb. The people of Pompeii couldn't even flee. They were buried under volcanic ash exactly as they were, standing or sleeping. The heat from the volcano was so intense, nearly 500 degrees Celsius, that the brains of some victims literally boiled and turned to glass. Recently, scientists found a fragment of glass inside a victim's skull that was once their brain. 4. The Colosseum, 80 AD. Rome's Colosseum was the world's largest amphitheater, opened to the public by Emperor Titus in 80 AD. It could seat 50,000 to 80,000 spectators. It hosted bloody battles between gladiators and wild animals. Do you think it was just an open-roof stadium? No. The Colosseum had a massive retractable roof made of fabric that could be pulled by ropes to protect spectators from sun and rain. It was called the Velarium. 5. The first steam engine. An engineer from Alexandria named Hero of Alexandria, created a machine called the aeolipile. In this device, water was boiled, and the pressure of the steam made a sphere spin rapidly. This was a real steam engine, but it was used only to surprise and entertain people. If people of that time had understood the true power of this machine, the Industrial Revolution would have started 1,700 years earlier, and today we might be vacationing on Mars. 6. Jesus Christ and the calendar. The life and crucifixion of Jesus Christ, the founder of Christianity, was the most influential event of this century. He was executed around 30 to 33 AD by the order of the Roman governor Pontius Pilate. His followers eventually branched off from Judaism to form a new religion that is now the largest in the world. The year we call 2026 is based on the birth of Jesus, but the interesting part is that there was a calculation error. Modern historians believe Jesus was actually born between 4 BC and 6 BC, so technically he was born before Christ. 7. Buddhism enters China. Emperor Ming of the Han Dynasty in China had a dream of a golden man coming from the west. He sent his envoys to India. The envoys brought Buddhist monks and scriptures back to China on a white horse.
This event laid the foundation of Buddhism in China. China's first Buddhist temple is the White Horse Temple, which still exists today. It was named in memory of the white horse that carried the books from India. 8. Founding of London, 43 AD. When the Romans conquered Britain, they needed a place to cross the River Thames. They built a bridge there and established a settlement named Londinium. This settlement eventually became the city of London we know today. Ancient Roman London lies buried 20 feet below the streets of modern London. If you dig a deep enough hole anywhere in London, there is a high chance you will find Roman coins, pottery, or walls. 9. Queen Boudica's revenge. After the death of the king of the Iceni tribe in Britain, the Romans seized his property and mistreated his daughters. Fueled by revenge, Queen Boudica gathered a massive army and burned 3 Roman cities to the ground, including London, Londinium. Boudica burned London so severely that it created a burnt layer. Even today, archaeologists excavating London find a layer of red ash, which is proof of Boudica's rage. World population. In the 1st century, the world's population was estimated to be 200 to 300 million. 1/4 of this population lived within the Roman Empire alone, with large portions also in the Han Empire of China and in India. For comparison, today the population of the Indian state of Uttar Pradesh, UP, approximately 240 to 250 million, is equal to the population of the entire world at that time.
Fact number 11. Gladiators, sweat, and blood. In Rome, gladiators were like superstars. When they fought in the arena, the sweat and grime from their bodies were scraped off using a metal tool called a strigil. This was collected in small vials and sold. Roman women used to apply this sweat as a face cream because they believed it would make them beautiful. Furthermore, some people even drank the warm blood of a dead gladiator to cure epilepsy. Fact number 12. Tax on urine. Roman Emperor Vespasian needed money for the treasury, so he imposed a tax on urine collected from public toilets. Urine contains ammonia, which at the time was used for washing clothes or bleaching and cleaning leather. When the emperor's son protested against this dirty tax, the emperor held a gold coin to his nose and asked, "Does it smell?" When the son said no, the emperor replied, "Pecunia non olet," meaning money does not smell, no matter where it comes from. Fact number 13. Senator Horse. Roman Emperor Caligula was famous for his madness. He loved his horse, Incitatus, so much that he gave him a marble stable, an ivory manger, and a gold collar. Caligula had even announced his horse would be made a consul, the highest political office in Rome. Fortunately, he was assassinated before he could do so. Otherwise, history would have seen a horse as a leader. Fact number 14. The first vending machine. We think vending machines are modern, but in the 1st century, Nero of Alexandria created a machine for temples. When a worshiper dropped a coin into the slot, the weight of the coin pushed a lever, releasing a small amount of holy water. This was the world's first automatic machine. Priests installed it because people were taking too much holy water for free. The machine stopped the theft. Fact number 15. Plastic surgery. Sushruta Samhita. In India, the knowledge of Maharshi Sushruta was being compiled during this era. The Sushruta Samhita contains detailed descriptions of rhinoplasty, nose plastic surgery. At that time, noses were often cut off as a punishment for crimes. To repair them, skin from the forehead was used. Sushruta is called the father of plastic surgery. He performed such complex operations around the 1st century that were unknown in Europe until the 18th century. Fact number 16. Magnetic compass, the south-pointing spoon.
In China, a device called Sinan was used for feng shui to determine directions. It was a spoon made of lodestone, a magnetic rock, that always pointed towards the south. This was the world's first compass, but it wasn't used for finding paths initially. It was used to find auspicious directions for building houses. Its use in navigation started much later. Fact number 17. St. Thomas in India. According to Christian beliefs, one of the 12 main disciples of Jesus Christ, St. Thomas, landed at the Muziris coast of Kerala, India, in 52 A.D. He established 7 churches there and preached Christianity in India. This means Christianity arrived in India hundreds of years before it reached many European countries, like England or Germany. Fact number 18. Silk Road and Rome's obsession. In the 1st century, the Silk Road from China to Rome was fully active. Romans were so obsessed with Chinese silk that they walked around wearing transparent silk clothes. The Roman Senate tried to ban wearing silk because they believed it was immoral and that all of Rome's gold was flowing to China. The historian Pliny wrote, "India and China together are draining 100 million sesterces, currency, from Rome every year." Fact number 19. Siege of Masada, 73 A.D. At the end of the Jewish revolt, 960 Jewish rebels hid in a mountain fortress called Masada. The Roman army besieged the fort for months and built a massive ramp to reach the mountain. When the Roman army finally entered the fort, they were met with silence. The Jews had committed mass suicide rather than accept slavery. They drew lots to decide who would kill whom so they wouldn't fall into the hands of the Romans. Fact number 20. Automatic doors. Nero of Alexandria built automatic doors for temples. A fire was lit on an altar outside the temple, which heated the air in a vessel below. The expanding air displaced water into buckets, which became heavy and opened the doors via a pulley system. When the fire went out, the doors closed automatically. To the common people of that time, it seemed like a miracle of the gods, whereas it was pure physics. 21. Roman toilets and the community sponge. In Rome, there were public toilets where there was no such thing as privacy. People would sit side by side on long benches to defecate and chat. The most disgusting part was that there was no toilet paper for cleaning. Instead, they used a sea sponge attached to a stick known as a xylospongium. When one person was finished, they would rinse the sponge in a bucket of salt water or vinegar and leave it for the next person to use. This was a major cause of the spread of diseases. 22. Nero's cruelty. Human torches. After the Great Fire of Rome, Emperor Nero needed a scapegoat. He pinned the blame for the fire on the Christians. According to historian Tacitus, Nero captured Christians, tied them to poles, covered them in oil, and set them on fire. He used these burning humans as streetlights to provide illumination for his garden parties. This remains one of the darkest events in history. 23. The secret of Roman concrete. Modern concrete begins to deteriorate within 50 to 100 years, but 1st century Roman concrete is still standing after 2,000 years, like the Pantheon or the Colosseum. They created a special mixture of volcanic ash, lime, and seawater. The specialty of Roman concrete is that it actually grows stronger when it comes into contact with seawater. Even today, scientists have not been able to fully replicate this lost technology. 24. The rebel sisters of Vietnam, the Trung sisters. In 40 A.D. in Vietnam, which was then under Chinese occupation, 2 sisters, Trung Trac and Trung Nhi, rebelled against Chinese tyranny. They raised an army of 80,000 people, mostly women, and kept the Chinese at bay for 3 years. According to legend, These two sisters fought on the battlefield mounting giant elephants. Even today, they are worshipped as national heroines in Vietnam. 25. Pliny the Elder and the Volcano. Death of Pliny. Pliny the Elder was the greatest scientist and author of his time. When Mount Vesuvius erupted in 79 AD, the eruption that destroyed Pompeii, instead of fleeing, he took a boat to the site to observe it closely and rescue people. He died because of his curiosity. He passed away on the spot due to suffocation from inhaling toxic volcanic gases. His nephew later wrote, "He died like a true scientist."